Right, there we go. I'm not going to mess about with the settings anymore. So, yeah, if when people get on, I was trying to do the new streaming thing YouTube goes on about. They've given me the physical button for it, but it doesn't work. So either they've not really given me the option yet to do it, or what do you call it? It's just broken. But it seems weird. The button shows up for me, but then I can't do it. So that was a lot of time wasted. Um, I think Weapon Collector said he could do it, so it seems weird to me. It sort of, shows up for me but doesn't work, if that makes sense. So anyway, hopefully we get some people on, because like I said, that's messed the stream up a bit then, because I've had to do two false starts to actually get going. So anyway, hopefully we get some people on, because like I said, that's potentially screwed it up now that because of the way YouTube notifications work. That I've had to stop it and start it, stop it and start it. So yeah, just waiting now to see if anyone actually comes on. As I saw Saint popped on the other one, and I think somebody else popped on the first one. But again, like I said, I was trying to get the settings working. So we'll wait and see. What I might do if I do stream tomorrow is test this with a different camera, just in case this particular camera it doesn't like. While I'm waiting for people, I'm just going to Google this. YouTube Dualstream not working. And I want to set the tools to results for like the past month, because I'll look at the step-by-step. Oh, no, I don't want to. Again, when the problem is when you say dual stream, it keeps saying I don't know, Saint. I'm not in control of that. But yeah, annoyingly, I was trying to do the vertical stream and the other one by doing the 1080p sort of widescreen one, and it's just simply not working for whatever reason. I've got the thing there, and it just doesn't let me click the button. It doesn't give you an error why it doesn't let you do it, so it's quite annoying. I'll click live as well, so there's less of a delay, so I can see. Yeah, I'll ask Mike after the stream, but like I said, I'm not going to stop and start this stream again now to try and see if I can get anything going on it. So yeah, this is that good thing, like I said, just to prove it works. Again, because I had idiots in the comments for that video going, oh no, you used the sample bit and the sample bit's made from real armor, but the actual thing isn't. It's like, no, this is actually a proper protective piece of equipment. I'd probably, if I wore the top bit ever so slightly undone, just to give you a bit more neck breathability, because it would still be hard for somebody to stab in there. You could definitely conceal it, but bear in mind, if you're wearing a regular jacket, the top of this would just look like the collar of a regular jacket. This doesn't look weird at all, this thing. Because if you had a jacket on top of it, the actual collar bit just looks like the collar of a lot of coats. It's not really thick like a stab-proof vest thing. So obviously, if you folded it like that, I know you wouldn't do that for how you wanted to wear it, but as you can see, it just kind of looks like a sort of a thick shirt collar sort of thing. I think it was about £60. And that was the only one I could find that was like a properly sort of rated one where they gave you the test stuff and whatever else. Right, Retro Delights, yeah. So yeah, like I was saying, this is the only one I could find for sale anywhere that was like the proper sort of thing. As opposed to, you know, like the really cheapo looking ones that might be slightly slash resistant the same way as like the slash proof gloves are. Right, Bro Crusader? So yeah, like I said, I'll have to, as you said, Saint, after I've done this stream, message Mike and see if he knows why. It might be it's just not enabled for my channel yet for some reason, or it might be a weird thing like certain webcams, even though they're in 1080p, it doesn't like you doing it with them. So again, what I might do tomorrow, yeah, Kevin, it's not really the chainmail style stuff. So again, I might tomorrow try doing it using the Pocket, because if I do that in widescreen, connect YouTube to that and set that as my YouTube webcam, we'll see if it works maybe with that. Maybe it's just a weird thing where certain webcams it doesn't like. All right, Bart Sneed. And yeah, I'm not too bad, Bro Crusader. So yeah, the good thing is it seems like it's actually notified people that I'm on now. Because like I was saying, the annoying thing was earlier I had to stop and start the stream a load of times because I was trying to get that feature working, but it's still not working. That's cool. Sadly, we can't talk about that anymore on YouTube. Well, we could talk about it a bit, but again, because they took one of my streams down because we talked too much about guns, I'm just not going to risk it now because I don't want to get a strike or whatever, because then that's my livelihood fucked. Right, Savory Doofus. But yeah, just to show people again, this is actually a proper stab protective thing. You know, where people going, oh no, it's just this little sample bit they give you that's stab proof, everything else isn't. Like, yeah, you can see that the obviously the sample is definitely stab proof. You can see there like where the tip of the knife's pushing into it, but yeah. Again, I'm sure, like most of these things, with enough force and whatever else, you could stab through it. With this little sample bit now, I'm quite tempted to cut the liner off of it and see what the actual material looks like inside. I imagine it is just really similar stuff to the police stab vests. Let's have a look. It's quite nice, pleasant materials. It is a bit of a shame to cut it, but at least this is a sample bit I'm cutting, not my actual Yeah, I'll definitely do a video like that, Saint. It's just, but at least now I've got a lot more time to get around for that sort of stuff. So it looks like that inside. Again, if the webcam focuses, don't know if it will or not. Sadly, I think YouTube with webcams often doesn't do the autofocus very well. It's probably doing the manual focus bit. Tell you what, I can get up the software that lets me get a bit more control over my webcam. Logi, whatever it's called. Logitech G Hub, is it that? Loading the resources for my Brio. Right, go to the Brio. So yeah, but now I do it. Sometimes now I can change the focus and that. I'm just trying to see if I've got the take the zoom fully out. I don't know why that's been messed about with. Focus is it? I want manual focus is on, not autofocus. There we go. So now let me click back and see if I can see the YouTube bit properly. Again, it might be the lighting. It just doesn't want to focus on very well. Yeah, you can kind of see, it kind of looks like bandagey material, but again, it's with the lighting, it's hard to get that. Yeah, it will overlap with extra vests, because like I said, how this works is it's essentially just Velcro there, and then you just have these kind of little like elastic straps to keep it around your saying that, but like I said, so you could wear this if you just wanted stab protection there and nowhere else. you could have this on its own, but yeah, you could wear it with a stab vest as well. But I'll do a video wearing it with a slimline stab vest, and we'll see what it looks like. But I'd probably wear this over the top of the stab vest, I reckon, rather than underneath it. But I don't know until I experiment. But yeah, so with this thing, it literally, yeah, looks like a kind of, yeah, just a very dense sort of fibrous material. And again, if I now stab that, yeah, it's one of those things where what if you cut into it like layer by layer, you could probably get through it. But again, as a whole, like most of these armors, the reason they work well is because obviously it's a load of these layers probably compressed next to each other. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm just going to do I have my surgical scissors? Yeah, I do. Right. Because I got surgical scissors handy, what I'm just going to do is cut the rest of that little back bit off now. And I'll go back to the comments in a second. I'm just trying to not mess about with the thing. That is actually quite pleasant material, but yeah, like I said. So this the nice thing with this, at least, is it's actually quite a pleasant, soft, like fleecy kind of feeling. The liner they've put it in. You know, there's no point in me just keeping this bit from the sample one, but I'm going to keep obviously the sample bit for stab tests and that, but just sort of cut that away so it's easier to yeah, you'll still like again if like so if I do this look, this is why I'm not doing it too hard, not because I don't think it will go through. That will still hurt. And again, yeah, if for example that there somebody stabbed you hard there, it's still going to really fucking hurt and like crush your windpipe. But again, that's better than having somebody knife straight through your windpipe, isn't it? So I don't know, Kevin, but yeah, obviously Sheffield steel is really good steel. Sadly, a lot of Sheffield steel probably do Saint. Again, I'm not the best person to ask for that because, like I said, I've never used like a fireman style one with its own thing. I've used like a rebreather, but I've not used one with an actual proper air tank. Right, Rajiv? No, don't have any tiger stripe or reproduction tiger stripe. I know exactly what it is, but I don't have any. But yeah, so this stuff, like I said, is quite good. But like I said, I already had a load of idiots in the comments on that video as usual saying, I bet this stuff doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. Seeing if I can get the lighting a bit better so it actually maybe focuses a bit more. No, again, I could move the camera along maybe. But again, the problem with this is the wire behind the camera means I can never get this kind of looking where I want it to look. But that's not too bad. But you always get the glare. The problem I find with lighting in this room is you always get the glare from. Yeah, I suppose I put it like that. It's not too bad, but yeah. So, but again, the webcam just doesn't want to focus on that up close. Again, with your eye, it's really easy to see. It's like a bandage-looking material, but I've never seen any Saint. Again, I don't like looking on eBay because, like I've said, at the moment, I really can't afford to keep buying stuff on eBay, but I will have a quick look. I'm just searching neck protector, and then let me search like armor or whatever. Let me search neck protector police, for example. There's one that's £8.24 to £33.44 that says anti-cut neck guard, anti-scratch, blah blah blah. But until I look at it, oh Oh yeah, so basically the one I'm looking at here, there's one that's anti-cut only. Yeah, these ones are cut only, not stab. So again, they look similar to this, but they say cut only, because I think that was the problem I found when I was looking on UK retailers before, is I couldn't find anything that was anti-stab rated. You know, a lot of them were anti-cut, but you can get an ice hockey neck guard. Whether or not that would be any good for just like doing anything, I don't know. But like I said, this stuff was actually rated as a proper yeah. But again, that just says it protects from skate cuts and stick cuts. Doesn't say anything about stab. And again, stabbing is the harder thing to protect against. Again, do riot police have neck armor? I'm kind of interested in this. Because most riot police armor I've seen is kind of just because, again, I've got some hanging up there and looking at, like, that's French, but looking at the British stuff on eBay, it's basically just like padding for nearly all your body. And then again, you've just kind of got the main sort of body armor, like regular police body armor. Again, you might have a bit more padding, but it doesn't really look like, other than the, thing, you just seem to have the chest protection, then you have the helmet coming down. It doesn't look like they have any additional neck protection. So, yeah, my guess is that the police don't have specific neck protectors in the UK. It's completely legal for you to wear armor in the public in the UK. Is the lighting gone really weird again? Right. Oh, no, it's fine now. Oh, it keeps. I don't know why it keeps. It's probably when I'm moving tabs, but what I really need is, it's still on my desk, is that white light I've got somewhere. The where is it? I'm trying to think what it's called. The like the spotlight type thing. It's not called a spotlight, but sadly, I don't think I can easily get this lamp to get at an angle. I'll just try it there and see what this does a minute. But ideally, what I'm just trying to do with the lighting is get the, a light to backlight from behind the webcam, so it doesn't cause glare on the webcam, but it still gives off a good color light towards me. But and it's not live anymore. Right, there we go. That looks a bit better. I'll keep the lamp like that, but I can never get it in an ideal way, that sort of desk lampy kind of thing. And yeah, somewhere on this desk I did have, unless I put it back away in another room, one of those like I said, softbox kind of lights. But again, what I might buy after Christmas, because like I said, the problem is, at the moment, now I'm not working like properly at the moment, just doing YouTube, is I can't afford to just randomly buy stuff like that. I need to probably look into one of the ones where you can actually get the like white softbox style light, but it actually mounts on the top of your TV or whatever, or computer screen, so I could put it right next to the webcam there and then have it floodlight towards me. Because again, like I was saying, the issue is with a lot of these lights is getting the angles right where they don't cause glare on the webcam. That's a good idea, Kevin. I like openings. Yeah, exactly. Say, like, this isn't really padded. So like I was saying, you'd have to wear something padded underneath it if you didn't want to get, really painfully. You're still going to get horribly bruised and, like I said, winded with this. But again, you're not going to have your throat torn out. So, but yeah, but like I said, this stuff does seem good. Because like I said, as you could see where I was doing it on the thing, that you can probably hear that on the mic. Hopefully, that is actually kind of cutting. When I say kind of cutting, I mean it's not doing anything to the thing, but you can hear the noise of the knife, and you can see like little indents on it. Again, you're not going to see that on the camera, but it's not going through at all. But like I said, it just annoys me, because I always get those typical kind of comments of people going, "Oh, that you're shilling, you're lying. That stuff doesn't do anything." Actually, I might just zoom the image in a bit more. Actually, let me play with the image and contrast settings a bit in the Brio settings while I'm doing this, just to see if I can get anything looking a bit better. So if I put the contrast up, so that's just going to increase the shadows in places, isn't it? Yeah, I don't want the contrast very high then. Yeah, I want that a bit more like that, so it's easier to see. Brightness, I'll keep as it is. Saturation, might put that up a couple of percent. Let's try that on 66%. Sharpness, I'll put up maybe 10%. And then crop, I will just do the zoom by about 10% again, just because that, there we go. That's a bit of sharpness. Might be a bit too for some people, but I prefer sharpness like that because it at least helps it do edge detection a bit on stuff. But anyway, I'll go back to the comment. Sorry, I'm getting a bit distracted. And I'm assuming since I've started with my other webcam settings now, I still can't do the Dualstream thing. Yeah, again, I kind of like Glockfield knives, but open hours I think are just more practical knives. And again, they've got the lock-in collars. They're nice little penny knives, as they're called, or peasants' knives, whatever they are. But open hours are just practical little knives. A Glock knife is stronger, obviously, if you were using it for like prying stuff and doing all that. But an open hour is just a nice little pocket knife. So yeah, like I said, this thing is actually good. I've already filmed the video tomorrow where I was just doing some of those stab tests as like a 15-second short, just to prove to people that, you know, it does actually work. Although I'm sure people will then say I wasn't using a real knife for that, or I've got one that was, you know, made specifically for me so I could shill it, and it's actually not really like that. You know, I'm trying to think of a good word for it. You know, like it's not really like how you say it is, kind of thing. You know, it's they've sent you a unique special version where the one everybody else would get if they buy it would be thing. I'll get the affiliate link up just for everybody, just in case anybody's interested in this. So again, if anybody is interested to in what I'm wearing, that sort of stab thing. If I've got the FS knife on the desk, I will test that against the separate panel, because I haven't, like I said, I only tested and sorry, my desk has got really cluttered again recently. I don't know why. I think it's because I was messing about with packaging on the desk one week. Yeah, this will definitely stop Dracula getting into your neck. Yeah, so right, let's see if I get an FS knife and do that with the FS. Right, the FS look is just going through if I do that. So yeah, if somebody, by putting a lot of force onto it, like that, an FS with its needle point just about goes through. But if it only penetrated that far with a really, really good thrust, you would still be, I think, pretty damn safe in terms of, you know, the blade barely going into you. Because again, that little amount going into your neck, like less than a centimeter, a couple of millimeters, probably isn't going to nick you that badly. So yeah, you can pen it, it seems, with an FS style knife, because I can see the camera through that. Hold that up so you can maybe see the little hole in it if the camera focuses. Let me just click the thing so it goes live again. I don't know why YouTube keeps not going live when I'm doing this, but yeah, can you see that? There's a little hole in it. Yeah, there you go, little pinhole. So yeah, this can be penetrated by very, very thin needle points, it seems. So again, it's a bit like with the spike protection on some of the things. It's knife resistant, not really spike resistant. But again, considering how well it works against kitchen type knives, this is the only thing product I've seen sort of like that does that. So yeah, if somebody put an FS style knife with a lot of force into this, it would go through. But I imagine, like I said, the wider the blade, the less likely it is going to do it. And considering most knife attacks are people just like slashing and stabbing with kitchen knives. Yeah, well, the thing I love about an FS knife is you can physically drop it onto like a bit of wood and it will go in like with almost no effort. So again, I'll just be out of frame, but if I just do that on my table, the point actually goes in. And if I just put a little bit of force in, again, this is a very old wooden table. You can't see that there, but the knife is stood up on its own, because again, you only need a tiny bit of pressure to get the FS to, you know, so one of the things I like is getting a wooden chopping board, dropping the FS from, you know, like waist height or whatever onto the chopping board, and it will actually probably go boing and stick into it like that, where a lot of knives just, you know, make a little hole and then bounce out. But yeah, the like I said, FS is like the main knife I use if I want to really see, you know, if realistically with any kind of stiletto-y point, if somebody could penetrate like a stab piece of armor. But like I said, most things the FS will go through unless they are properly rated to be stab, you know, like stab proof. So yeah, but like I said, I'd still feel very comfortable wearing this because, like I said, as you saw me doing that with regular strength with a normal knife, doesn't go through. And when I stabbed this bit on its own harder on some towels, toilet paper underneath was completely fine. So yeah, I suppose if I do one of those videos again, like on how would I survive or like what would I wear in various kind of scenarios, this would be a good thing. Oh, my leg's gone dead. Sorry. Oh, that's quite uncomfortable. Yeah, I would definitely recommend this as one of the things of like, you know, if I was using something for yeah, like in a scenario where there's vampires, yeah, this would definitely be good for a vampire slayer. Oh, don't forget to like the stream, everybody. It says there's only 4 people have liked the stream so far. Shameful. It wasn't actually my toe; it was my ankle, Rajiv. It's just because I was sat kind of sat kneeling, just so I could get a bit closer to the camera. Because when I'm sat laid back in the chair, I'm obviously further away like that. But yeah, I like this thing. Oh yeah, that is annoying. Yeah, I've definitely made that go dead doing that. It's fine until I try and move it in certain ways. Now I've got pins and needles. Right, I'll stick it on the chair like that, which is going to make it harder to see me, just so I can back and forth move my ankle again to. In what sense? I just again, the problem is with any kind of thing using cameras, unless you can get a camera that's at the perfect angle at all times, you can't, you know, do stuff. And again, I'm not wearing stage makeup or anything as well. Because that's the thing when I've done 4K videos is like, yeah, you can see every pock mark and whatever in my face. Because again, I'm not wearing any, you know, like fucking makeup like a lot of YouTubers do. Wow, I imagine a lot of the bigger YouTubers do. You know, I'm not wearing fucking makeup to do videos. But yeah, so what I did watch last night though in 4K, which was absolutely fantastic, Batman 1989. Again, I appreciated that even more watching it in 4K. Like it's aged really, really well. Definitely still my favorite Batman film out of all of them. And yeah, Jack Nicholson's just fantastic in that. And yeah, again, it's still quite dark though, and I know it's dark because it's Tim Burton, but I mean in the sense that like Joker's whole thing in that, you know, compared to just being like, oh, I'm gonna do some general things or whatever, is literally mass poisoning people via commercial products to kill as many people as possible and cause like absolute terror, and then just gassing loads of Gotham. So it's like in that one, he is literally like a proper terrorist rather than yeah, and like I say, it's definitely got some camp to it as well. But yeah, but you know, that's the thing with some of the other Jokers. Not straight away when it comes out. I'll see what people think of it. Again, I've still got a gaming PC at the moment that's probably going to be a bit better than the Steam machine, but I'm actually very tempted by them in the sense that because it's running on whatever build of Linux it's on, it's on you know, it's on something much nicer than Windows now, because again, Windows has just gone to shit, really, hasn't it? Let's see if I can turn that down ever so slightly. In terms of angle, probably gonna fuck the angle up now. Yeah, oh, that's the problem with trying to adjust those is, yeah. But so Yeah, the thing is, the Steam machine apparently is still going to be in that like £600 to £1,000 price range. But I think for that, if you get something that's essentially very easy to use and is very well optimized for what it is, um, but yeah, what the Steam machine is hopefully going to do is it's going to force developers to actually optimize, their games properly again. Because the problem's been for quite a while now is that a lot of game developers just are not bothering to optimize their games at all. So basically, it's as long as somebody can run something with the best, CPU and GPU, that's all that matters. And if people complain about performance, on a lower end thing, basically just tell them, oh, buy a better PC. Um, yeah, exactly. RAM crisis, SSD crisis. But yeah, but because Valve said basically everything, nearly everything on Steam should be able to run on the Steam Deck at 4K between 30 and 60 FPS. It doesn't mean obviously on ultra settings. It could mean like medium settings or whatever. It at least means that, yeah, most people can just buy one, essentially, plug it in, and nearly everything on Steam actually play. Yeah. Well, it will be with AMD's version of DLSS, won't it? Because it's it's an AMD GPU in it, not an NVIDIA. But yeah. But yeah. But again, like I said, I want Steam Deck to do really well because I want it to force, companies that make games again to actually focus on fucking optimizing their shit rather than like I said, doing all the crap where they basically go, oh, it's not just buy a more powerful PC. We can't be bothered to optimize our stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's like I love the idea of it, James, but like you said, it's ended up doing the worst possible thing where yeah, people have used it like a crutch, haven't they, developers, where oh just turn on this feature rather than actually rather than us optimizing our games. Because again, I still find it insane if you look at Half-Life 2, how like people have managed to get Half-Life 2 to run on some things that you wouldn't even think could play games at all. Yeah, Kevin, I'd say wait for it to come out and make sure it actually doesn't have any issues or whatever. But yeah, assuming that Valve don't charge more than $1,000 for it, I think it would be really good. Because like I said, I'm quite tempted by oh, you're on about Steam Deck, sorry, yeah. The Steam Deck's the one I'm more tempted by actually rather than the Steam Machine. Because Steam Machine is obviously the one for like the PC equivalent, isn't it? Like a sort of mini PC equivalent. Steam Deck is like the Nvidia, not Nvidia, Nintendo, is it Switch or whatever it is? But yeah, like I said, the Steam Deck is the one I'm more interested in, just so I can play. Because again, like I said, if I've got a PC that's already going to be better than a Steam machine, I've not got much use for a Steam machine at the moment. But if a Steam Deck, I do have use for because it means I can take essentially like a little gaming console thing with me in a lot of places I wouldn't normally be able to. Yeah, and again, like Roger said, I definitely go for the OLED one if you get one because again, having seen OLED screens on things, I really like the look of them. But again, even the Steam machine's going to be pretty damn portable because it's basically the sort of thing that you'd take it and a controller and a HDMI cable somewhere and then just plug it in a bit like a console. Okay, like I said, I'd look in, like personally as well, like I said, I'd look into it before getting one. I'm just sort of saying that I like the idea of those handheld, like, those sort of handheld PCs just because, like I said, I know there's enough games that you can play on them that they're good fun. And that also there'd be obviously a lot of other just random media type stuff you could do on them. But yeah, so like I said, this thing is definitely cool. I'm just going to see if I've had any more stupid comments on that one I did the video on earlier. Just because, like I said, that was a magnet earlier for people. No, I haven't had any more dumb comments. Like I said, that was a magnet, that video earlier, for people doing the really stupid comments of like, oh, the sample is the only armored bit. This does nothing. That's how Chinese people scam people. Oh, and we also had somebody on there that said like the UK is completely safe and there's no knife crime or anything. It's like a right-wing conspiracy. And I blocked that person as well, even though somebody had already replied to them saying they were full of shit and that, they actually lived in one of the areas the guy claimed was completely safe. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, Rajiv. I am really, really tempted by with Linux. Is just I've got Windows 10. In the future, I don't want a Windows 11 PC because of just how resource hogging it is and just how dog shit Windows is getting. And because Linux is getting a lot more user friendly now, I am just really tempted to get a Linux. Where it's like before, I thought, why would I ever want Linux? But yeah, it's now just got to the stage where because Microsoft have killed their own product so well. There was a massive problem with Windows 11 recently. I can't remember what it was, James, where they did something in an update that really, really fucked some sort of performance thing over, and Microsoft themselves even had to admit it because they did such a bad job with it. I can't tell you what it was because I didn't read too much into it because, like I said, I'm not actually on Windows 11. But yeah, they're just selling them for fun. Stab vests are just fancy dress. Nobody actually needs a stab vest. But yeah, like I said, but again, even with I know with like for example, my dad's PC, when my dad had a Windows 10, he had like a cheap pre-built Windows 10 PC. And when he wanted to upgrade, I said to him, right, these are the specs of your current thing. Let's have a look at more pre-builts for you. Because again, my dad would only want a pre-built because he doesn't do much with his PC. And we looked at something that was way better spec than his, pre-built for his Windows 10. And I said, all right, that should be fine then. We got it, and then it was absolutely unusable until I think I bought another 8 gig of RAM for him to stick in there because of just how much, how much of the PC's actual resources Windows used. And he doesn't even game on it or anything. I just mean like, browsing the internet was like snail's pace, because of just Windows 11 on that machine ate nearly all of the PC's resources up, even though, it was a decent Dow CPU in it. And yeah, I'm sorry you can't do that, Dave, when you try and get rid of their AI. So yeah, like I said, that's the reason I'm more tempted by Linux, just because I'm getting more and more annoyed with just Windows stuff myself. But and yeah, like I said, just because the way PC prices are going, and like yeah, then knowing that like so much of that money you're spending on hardware is just going to get eaten up by. And again, it's not just Microsoft. Like I was saying, this is just a thing in general where so many developers are just bad at optimizing their software now. So it just compounds on top of each other. That Windows is eating up a lot of your resources. Then games are eating up more resources than they should because the developers, like we were saying earlier, oh, why do we need to optimize? Just use FrameGen. So yeah, but right. So like I said, how long have I been streaming this stream? Let's have a look. 30, 38, 30, sort of 40 minutes. So yeah, tomorrow's bit short. Like I said, is literally just a 15-second short, just me stabbing myself wearing this to prove it works for all the idiots that were going in the other video. Oh, this is a fake product. Blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, you have to right click, then you have to choose another option to get the classic right click up, don't you, Rajiv? Yeah, because on my dad's PC, every time I'm trying to do something for him on there, I'm like, what am I looking at? And then I have to do that. Yeah, and they have little pictures, don't they, rather than the text before you do the other right click option. So like rename is like some like little dash symbol or something, isn't it? But yeah, I know exactly what you mean because, like I said, when I have to play tech support on a Windows 11, I'm like looking at like, what the fuck is this? I don't know what this is. Yeah, you can set it to be far left though, um, because on my mum's laptop we set it to be far left. So at least you can change that. So that is at least a lot less frustrating than it was when you had to have it central. Again, I don't know how you do it because with my mum's, I think when we set the laptop up for the first time, it asked us literally right at the beginning do you want it on the left or do you want it on the middle? And we chose left. But obviously there will be a way of changing it, probably in the taskbar options. But yeah. But yeah, like I said, the problem I just have with like a lot of PCs and just stuff in general now is just how nearly everything is so unoptimized. You know, where you think back in the day how well, you know, you could have a computer with less than 4 GB of RAM and you could have loads of programs open and no issues. One thing that really, really annoyed me with Windows, Rajiv, that took me ages to figure out how to turn off on this one, and I had to go into like 4 or 5 different settings and turn it off in different menus, because turning it off in one doesn't do it across everything. You have to find it in every little single thing. Was it powering off your USB ports, because that kept killing my internet. Because if I'm either using the Wi-Fi dongle or I'm using, because like I said, I've got an old Ethernet card on this PC. So if I use the Ethernet socket, I don't get the full speed of my internet now. I have to use like a USB-free Ethernet, you know, USB-free to Ethernet connector sort of thing, and then I can get the full like 1 GB per second or gigabits per second speed. It would keep just turning my internet off like every 15 minutes for a couple of seconds, but that would just get you killed in a game or whatever, or fuck up a stream. So I had to I had to look up tutorials on every single little bit in the settings you have to go through in all the different menus to stop it turning off USB slots. So yeah, it was just one of those things where, yeah, there's just so many things like that. It's like, and one thing, this happens to my friend on Windows 11, happens to me on Windows 10. For him, it messes with his microphone properties on terms of frequency. For me, it does it with volume. And I better check what my volume actually is now. Every now and then, Windows decides, say if I go into the sounds menu, and then I go to recording and I right-click properties on my microphone, if I go to levels, it's done it here again. It's put it to fucking 32% for no reason. Right, so there we go. It's now at 100%. But again, it just randomly changes the number for no reason. Like, it will be fine one day, and then it's gone, oh, I want to put you on a different setting. For absolutely no reason, Windows just fucks with your volume levels. And for me, for my friend, it fucks with his like frequency. You know, so if you go to advanced and then sample rate, it just randomly keeps changing his sample rate. So sometimes he'll sound fine in a voice chat. Other times his voice will be really low quality or too high a bit rate for the thing he's in, and it will garble his voice. Yeah, 7 was the last good one. Like you said, I didn't mind Windows Vista after they fixed it a lot either. I thought Windows Vista in the end was quite good. Not obviously at launch, but once Vista was, you know, fixed up a lot, it was actually quite good. But yeah, I loved XP. Like 98, like XP. But yeah, again, this is the thing I hate, is like so much of Windows now and lots of things like this is like, oh, you're a baby and you can't be trusted to set your own computer settings up, so we'll do it for you and we'll do a shit job of it. And like I said, that's what really annoys me, because obviously when I set a PC thing up, I want to set the settings up as I want it once, and then it just to be left as it is. But no, it's like, oh, there's another thing my PC used to do, and I know it used to do it for a lot of other people until, you know, you had manually disabled it, was like where it tries to update your drivers automatically for you, and then it breaks your GPU drivers constantly. It's like, no, if I want to update my fucking GPU drivers, I'll go on the NVIDIA or AMD app or website and I will download the latest drivers. Don't try and do it for me and cock it up, and then it breaks my PC. The only thing I have that actually updates things without breaking drivers is my antivirus, funnily enough. That's one of the features that's like in my antivirus software suite if I want to use it. And I like, that's actually quite handy, you know, especially for like programs I've not touched in ages. Because, you know, you sometimes get open a program and every time you open it, it says, do you want to like go to our website and install the latest update, or like remind me later and all that. And if I run the thing on my antivirus, it will take about 10 minutes to do everything on my PC, ask to restart, and then you can open that program and it has actually done it. So that's actually quite good. But yeah, I don't trust Windows to do it, because Windows always breaks stuff when it does that. So yeah, like I said, I'm quite tempted to get Linux, just like we were saying, because I think Linux would be in general quite good, especially because, like I said, you can emulate so many Windows things quite well on Linux now. Because again, somebody was emulating Time Splitters Rewind on a Steam Deck absolutely fine, even though that's not even on Steam. A lot of this, I don't know if Bill Gates even has much to do with Windows anymore, does he, Kevin? That's the thing, is like, I don't know if Bill Gates, I mean, there's other politics you might not agree on him on, but I think Bill Gates doesn't really have anything to do with Windows now. He's probably just got loads of money from it and other people are in charge of it. But yeah. Right, I won't stay on too much longer because that lamp gives off shitloads of heat over there. So that's the only problem when I'm doing these streams, is it makes me feel really, really warm. And the radiator's on now, I think, at this time of day. Plus, my PC's belching out heat. So, like I said, this room in the winter's good because you don't actually need a radiator on. But I immediately notice if it's a really cold day and the heating's not on, the moment I leave this room and go into another room in the house, because of the fact that this room's nice and toasty, and then suddenly I'm in a room where I'm like, oh, this is cold. Because if I'm in a room where I need to wear a jumper and then I come in here, I very quickly realize I'm way too hot when I'm sitting here. Yeah. Source from the light LED bulbs, source from the being probably radioactive warmth seeping over me as well. I'll actually check at some point how well this stops radiation as well. Probably stops, well, definitely completely stop alpha, and it might cut down a little bit of beta radiation. Where's that, Sean? We've had lots of rain where I am with this current storm, but no snow at all. Is he a reptilian? Or maybe I'll get taken off of YouTube for talking about those. But yeah, like I said, I'll be off in a minute. So yeah, video tomorrow. I think the video tomorrow literally just comes out at midnight tonight. I just set it, at like 0:00 UK time. It goes live. Ah, yeah, right, yeah. Definitely different in the windy city, isn't it? Over here in the UK, we've just had lots and lots of rain as usual. A bit of flooding in some areas, but it's just been wet here. But so yeah, tomorrow the actual video where I stab myself while wearing this to prove it works. For all the people that were getting, calling me a shill or whatever, saying this was a fake product. See you, the most double steel douchebag ever, 0451. And yeah, then I'm either tomorrow going to film a full-length kind of review of this, or I'll do a video about radiation and gas mask filters with a load of the questions I get asked about that, and hopefully use a radiation detector to demonstrate the stuff that people ask about, about how filters do and masks do and don't stop radiation. Again, I've probably done this before, but it doesn't help to do a reminder people video, because most people who keep asking questions never check to see if I've done a video in the first place on a certain subject. Yeah, cheers, James. Appreciate it. Like I said, that it's just one of those things that for my own sanity I had to do that. That like most people, it's the easy thing is, in some ways, the easy thing is just putting up with stuff and staying there for the money. But like I said, in the end, it was just one of those things that was going to break me if I just stayed there. So, right. Anyway, like I said, I will head off now because, like I said, probably make a coffee or something. I'll have some cold water. And yeah, hopefully I'll do a stream as well tomorrow, because at the moment, unless I've got anything particularly coming up on a day, there's no reason I can't do streams and whatever. Because yeah, I'm hoping now I'm not there. There's. Oh, thank you very much. I'm not drinking at all at the moment though, James. But thank you. I have something else, but just because of how stressed I've been and everything at the moment, I'm avoiding alcohol for the reason that I won't be able to stop myself if I start. But yeah, thank you very much. Cheers. But yeah, So I'll have something else, but I do appreciate it. Just that, yeah, it's for my own good. I won't, as much as I enjoy them, find I like them too much, to quote Stonewall Jackson. Yeah, coffee, exactly. Become dangerously caffeinated instead. But yeah, the problem with me, like I said, is when I'm, especially if I'm in a really bad state of mind, if I start drinking, I can't stop. So, you know, I'm at the moment, I'm avoiding it because I'm in a state where I'm all right to do so. So, you know, but yeah, anyway, everybody have a good day and everything, evening, whatever time zone you're all in. And like I said, and don't forget to like the stream, everybody, before you go off, because like I said, YouTube seems to share these more if people consistently like the videos. And yeah, video on this tomorrow where I stabbed myself. Like I said, just a little short, but it was just more of a proof because people going, "Yeah, you're faking it. These don't work." But yeah, right. There you go. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. And when I do a stream tomorrow, I am gonna try doing it using this, just in case that dual stream mode works. Because, like I said, I've done everything at my end I should have to do to get dual stream working, and everything I've tried, it's not working. So I'll try it with just a different camera, just in case YouTube randomly thinks this widescreen webcam isn't widescreen, even though you can see by the aspect ratio it is widescreen. But yeah, because apparently YouTube shares your live streams way more now if you do the dual stream thing. But it might just be they've not activated it for my channel yet, but they've literally put the button there, so the button's there to troll you. It's, you know, like where there's physically something there saying turn this on, and it doesn't work. So yeah, anyway, and that reminds me, just before I go as well, the problem I had with Windows 10 for ages, getting HDR to work for ages, where when I finally got HDR working and loved it, then I had ages where I just couldn't get HDR working again. And then randomly, I don't know if it was because of a Windows update again, or just me constantly messing about with settings, I was able to get HDR back on, so I could use the HDR features on my monitor, which, you know, is why I paid extra money for this monitor. But Windows will keep doing the thing that HDR either wouldn't appear, or it would appear, I'd click it, the screen would go black, and then it would turn itself off within a second. And yeah, I finally got that working, and I got it working by turning the settings to things they shouldn't even be for my, like, video card and monitor specs. But for some reason, with the wrong spec configuration, Windows was suddenly like, oh, I'll make it work now. Even though when it was working perfectly before, I had to have everything set to like what the factory instructions said for my equipment it should be. Anyway, have a good evening, everybody. See you all, and I will be on hopefully tomorrow, and we'll see if we can then get the dual stream working. Right, bye.